Welcome back to another tutorial. A real treat today on a haircut with widow's peak galore and a specific crown with a selection of light patch areas. We're going to create a real nice style, so let's go with it. 0.5, we'll start with a 0.5 to get the line that we want. We've already discussed this in a brief and we follow it through. Using the angles of the blade on your clipper, positioning the head forward to stretch the muscle on the back of the head. This will make the hair go into the clipper head a little bit easier. Follow this through all throughout. Bear in mind your influencing factor. As you can see, we've got a light area, so take note. Now change your setting to a 0 and start from the bottom to where you went with your 0.5 and follow this through. Positioning the head continuously through the haircut enables you to have a precise cut. Angle and glide your clipper blade, making sure that you position the head down as you work towards the side. When working around the ear, make sure that you fold the ear back. Follow through by adjusting your guard. Now this is a clipper over comb. Getting precision in using your clipper over comb takes a bit of practice, but I urge everyone to learn that technique. Teeth of your comb go in the hair and bring it out to you, almost like a C. And you work your way through section at a time until you get to the other side. Scissor over comb is a great technique to absolutely finish off the crispiness of a really good haircut. Using a selection of tools, you've got the smaller narrow end of the comb to the wider teeth of the comb, and getting used to flicking the comb as you progress with a haircut is a great technique to do. Remembering to position the head forward while working on the occipital area is really important. Really stretches that muscle, the skin, and you just get a finer finish. So working through with scissor over comb, you place your teeth of the comb in where you started the graduation and you work your way up. Now making sure that the teeth of the comb are going in and coming to you. This gives you a real nice, neat, crisp cut. Now remember, you've got the influencing factor there where you've got a selection of hair that's missing compared to the sides, and that's okay. You just factor that in and you follow it through completely until you're happy. Now on this section, we've got just on the side, it's quite thick and it's growing in slightly different direction. So it's a slight pointing in order to get a bit more softer look. So by doing this, the side doesn't stick out. Make sure that you do a continuous flow with your scissor over comb. And what I mean by that, don't stop and start, just keep going with your scissors and your comb. Framing your haircut is extremely important. So now we are happy with what we've created, we're going to frame it with a nice sharp edge. So I did a 0.5 and I'm just going to finish that off with just a slight edge with a 0, removing any excess hair from the neck. Going to be working my way up to the crown now, removing any excess bulk that I can see, any shadows. I'll take a section of the hair from the crown and comb it down. This is to see if it's bulky and if I'm happy with it. If not, I'll point it in. I take another section, so another runway, I bring it forward and I start off where I did the original section and I work my way through, just pointing in. I look at the front section, bearing in mind the front section is a widow's peak, so I don't want to do a blunt cut, so I'm just taking a slight layer technique. So you lift it up, you start from the short and you work your way to the center of the crown. I comb it over to see how it falls and I'm happy with that. Working my way forward from the crown, the back. So I'm using pointing technique. The reason is to create a lot of softness and removing some of the bulk. As you can see, we've got the guidelines from one side to the other and I'm working my way through. There's your guidelines, and take the excess in the center away. Work in small sections and work your way forward. And now I'm just tidying up areas that I feel that need to be tidied up. If you could see on that section, it was just slightly too heavy. So I've gone in with my scissor over comb and taken some of the weight out. So we want to create a nice natural parting, not a thick, heavy parting. And in order to do so, we have a look into how the hairline falls. And then we just put in a nice, delicate line. Another technique that I'd like to show you is by placing your scissor over comb but pointing. Now if you see, the positioning of myself is at the front. And this is different selection of pointing. I'm going deeper and creating almost V sections. This really makes the hair a lot more pliable in when you are drying and creating a style. Being very careful with the front section. If you cut this section with a widow's peak too short, it will do nothing but fall forward. I want this haircut to be going back, and I want it to be easy for my model when he styles it. So we're going to dry it now, so it's a real treat to be able to do this because we're fighting the hair. It wants to go completely different to how I'm drying it, but it's to show you a technique in order to be able to create the pompadour. So we're putting in a section with your vent brush. You put in some heat. Don't take huge sections, it's small sections at a time. We dry it off with the heat, and then we use the cold button. The cold air locks the hair into shape. Remember to take small sections as you're drying. If you take large sections, it just does not work. Use every angle of your tools, that's the secret. Here I'm directing the heat to the crown, making sure I get the right dryness in order to be able to create my style. Making sure that you're gathering hair a little bit at a time when you get to the front. And as you can see in the technique that I did then, I didn't just pick it up a little bit, I went in, forward and up. Really happy in the way that we've created the volume in this hair. So with the right techniques you can create this. I'm really happy how it turned out, and here we are.
If you'd like to gain the skills for the perfect haircut, subscribe for future tutorials.